If he really did that, he might not even get to run the stair, and Ted discovered a note hidden under the bed that nearly scared him to death. Opening it, his fingers traced rule #4 and #67 patient who, confirming Rachel's handwriting. What a cliffhanger. He wanted to take it for a closer inspection, but thought it might be too important, so he cautiously stashed it away and headed to the lounge for a mission. If Rachel wanted to escape, she'd definitely pass through here, but there were staff playing cards slipping out unnoticed. Nearly impossible. Ted wanted to have a chat with all the staff here, but the doc looked like he was being asked to babysit. He eventually agreed, but first, they stepped outside to find the ever-enthusiastic Fudai New leading the search for Rachel. Ted felt a wave of disappointment watching them slouch around like they were on vacation instead of on a mission. After hearing they found 0 clues for Rachel, Ted asked if anyone checked the cave on the cliff. Fudai New calmly replied, "It's full of poison ivy and thorns. Rachel can't get through barefoot." Having some context, they started prodding the staff to see who might have seen Rachel if she passed the lounge. Most pointed at a young guy named Glenn, the night owl of that shift. Ted stepped forward to ask if he'd seen Rachel. Glenn looked a bit scared of Ted, like a kitten facing a big dog, but still said no. Did nothing weird happen that night? One nurse chimed in, "This is a mental hospital, strangers just our everyday." Ted didn't want to hear that boring joke. It was time to ask if anything odd happened during Rachel's treatment. The nurse replied, only her head doctor, Sean, would know. Ted pressed for Sean's whereabouts, only for the doctor to say he was on vacation, and he just left this morning. Chuck jumped in, and a dangerous patient just went missing. You let the head doctor go on vacation? That's not logical. The doctor replied, he's just a doctor, can't stop him. Still 0 useful leads, and with the storm having subsided, they crashed in the on-call room. Ted looked at Rachel's note, puzzled over who patient #67 was and how Rachel managed to escape barefoot. Confused, Ted slowly closed his eyes and dreamt of his deceased wife. She told him, "Rachel is here, you must uncover the secrets." But when she turned, he saw her burned body, realizing she'd died in a fire. Ted rushed over for a tight embrace, but bizarrely, she started leaking water and blood, like she just crawled out of a pool. In agony, she said, "That guy is here too, you need to leave now." Ted couldn't grasp who she meant. She slowly uttered the name Ladies, like it was a spell. After that, she transformed into grey ashes in the air, leaving Ted with wet hands. Ted jolted awake from the nightmare, with the storm still raging outside. The next day, he sought out Dr. Cully again. He wanted to look at Sean's files, but was met with Dr. Cully's refusal. Ted wondered why he wouldn't just explain it. Instead, he started lecturing on the 2 schools of treatment for psych patients, making it sound like a history lesson. Like the orbital botomy show, the patients are obedient, but they turn into zombies. The new theory argues that it's highly inhumane. They advocate for therapy plus myths to help change patient personality. Ted immediately asked Dr. Cully which side he supported. Dr. Cully said he respects the patient's wishes, trying to understand and hear them out. Rachel's therapy was like that, but it wasn't great since she refused to admit her past crimes. Since they couldn't access Sean's files, they had to quiz Rachel's friends. One named Kin said, "Rachel always imagines this place as her home and the staff as her neighbors." Ted took notes, chuckling, then asked what Sean was like. Kin said he's gentle and really nice. Then she asked the nearby tea drinker for a refill. As soon as the tea drinker stepped away, she snatched the notebook from Ted and quickly wrote something down. By the time the tea drinker returned, Ted had already tucked the notebook away. The woman raised her cup to drink, but it was clearly empty. Poof, the water disappeared. Ted threw out one last question. Does Cairns know someone named Ladies? As she heard that nerve-wracking name, she instantly tensed up. She quickly replied no and dashed away. Later, the tea drinker asked who Ladies was. Ted didn't hide it anymore and said he came to investigate Rachel because of that guy named Ladies. He was the arsonist who caused his wife's death, and about a year ago, he read about him in the newspaper. It said he was locked up for mental issues, scars on his right temple, and left lip easily recognizable. Yet searching the A and B zones turned up nothing. Theoretically, only one possibility remained. He must be locked in the military stronghold of Sector C. The tea drinker couldn't get it if this guy was locked. Why would Ted want to see him? Ted pulled out his trusty notebook where someone scribbled chaos. That was from Kieran's. Considering all the clues, Ted believed this mental hospital wasn't as innocent as it seemed. He suspected they were conducting human experiments, even turning patients into emotional zombies. Ladies could be undergoing brain surgery somewhere. The tea drinker was utterly baffled again. Since this guy killed Ted's wife, why save him? Ted pondered aloud, sharing his past. Back in a lodger concentration camp, witnessing innocent deaths fueled his rage, leading him and squad mates to slaughter many surrendered German soldiers.